A big theme which Tulsi Gabbard brought in. She spoke about minorities being, I asked her a question on how the US felt about minorities being targeted in Bangladesh. We've seen a lot of that in recent times. Here's what she said. We've seen a lot of political changes over there, a lot of violence over there, and several reports of attacks on minorities. Is the United States concerned about the situation there and the need for stability at all levels, not just political stability?
Yeah, of course. The long time unfortunate persecution and killing and abuse of religious minorities, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, Catholics, and others, has been a major area of concern for the United States government and, of course, President Trump and his administration. The talks are just beginning between President Trump's new cabinet coming in and the government of Bangladesh, but this continues to remain a central focus area of concern, once again with the threat of Islamist terrorists and their overall effort, the global effort of all of these different groups that are really rooted in their same ideology, their same objective, which is to rule and govern with an Islamist caliphate. This obviously affects people of any other religion other than one that they find acceptable, and they choose to carry this out through very violent and terroristic means. President Trump remains committed once again to identifying this ideology that drives Islamist terrorism, helping to defeat that ideology and defeat their ability to exact that terror on people, the American people and others.
Well, joining us now, Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar. I'm also joined by Mohammad Kamruzzaman, who's a senior journalist in Bangladesh. Thank you both very much for being with us. Ambassador Sajjanhar, to a direct question on whether the US was concerned about targeted attacks on minorities in Bangladesh, Tulsi Gabbard said yes, that America was concerned. And you know, she went on to say a lot more. You heard all of that. At one level, it just sort of backs up what New Delhi has been saying for a long time, that in fact these attacks have been going on and they need to be brought to light, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Vishnu. You're very right. I think this issue is also, you know, you would recall that when Prime Minister had gone to Washington, D.C., this was also an issue that was discussed between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. You know, this was a question that was asked to Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, and he said, yes, Bangladesh was an issue that was discussed. So I think there is an ongoing conversation as far as the two sides are concerned. But as Tulsi Gabbard told you, you know, these are, early days. The administration is settling in. And I think the full force of what they have in mind, what they would like to do. But I think what Mr. Trump has in mind, this was also made clear when he was campaigning. And he had come out with that tweet, or should I say, you know, on his own handle, Truth Social, about the oppression of the minorities in Bangladesh, and that this will not be tolerated. This was a long message, that had been put up there. So it is very clear as to what Mr. Trump's thinking on this is, what the administration's thinking on this is. And I think going forward, we will see some particular expression of how they would like how they would like to take the relationship as far as also Islamic terrorism is concerned in Bangladesh.
In fact, Mr. Kamruzzaman, that was my next question. In the course of her answer, she even referred to worries about the existence of an Islamic caliphate. And while that remark may not have been made entirely with Bangladesh as its focus, she was speaking about the larger construct of an Islamic caliphate. It seems quite clear that Washington is very concerned about terror from Islamist groups in Bangladesh. This being the case, is this not a rather direct statement for Muhammad Yunus that, this is something that needs to be dealt with urgently?
Vishnu, thank you very much, and nice to see you after a long gap. Thank you very much for having me. Actually, as a citizen of this country, of course, we are always concerned regarding any torturing on any minority Hindu community or rising of any Islamic outfits who are actually in the name of Islam, some people who are involved in terrorist activities. Actually, the mass people of this country, as well as the government, always against those group. And of course, the state version or people's version of this country is that terrorists have no religion or no ethnic identity. They are terrorists. And we, as per our constitution, consider them as terrorists and not belong to any religious group or religious community.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, just going to, that's a very diplomatic answer, Mr. Kamruzzaman. Fair enough, that's your prerogative. Ambassador Sajjanhar, I'm just going to go through some of the words which she referred. She said, firstly, the talks are just beginning between Trump's incoming cabinet and the Bangladesh government, but this continues to remain a central focus. And then she said, once again, with the threat of Islamist terrorists and their global effort rooted in the same ideology and has the same objective, which is to rule and govern with an Islamist caliphate, this affects people of other religions and they choose to carry this out through violent means. The fact that she would refer to an Islamist caliphate, in a question on Bangladesh, I found that to be particularly intriguing. Your thoughts?
The way I look at it, Vishnu, is that she has been concerned, she herself and also I think President Trump has been concerned in this whole issue of the Islamic caliphate, the issue of Islamic terrorism, what has been emanating from Pakistan, what has been going around. And possibly, what could have been in the mind that, now in terms of the relations between Bangladesh and Pakistan warming up in the manner that they have done over the last few months, even in terms of the visit of Pakistan Army, Pakistan ISI, making visits. And we know that, before the independence liberation of Bangladesh, there was a very close connect between the ISI and the intelligence services and the armed forces in Bangladesh. So whether that is going to come up again, that is definitely, as far as India is concerned, that is definitely a matter of concern. I take, what the panelist from Bangladesh has said, but, what is written in the constitution, what is written in the word, and what is otherwise stated, there is, what we've seen is that there's total denial as far as Bangladesh is concerned. Even as far as the chief advisor has been saying when these issues are raised with him, even when, there was a conversation with the Prime Minister, he said that these are highly exaggerated. Even when our foreign secretary had gone there and he had spoken to him, we have not seen any action that is being taken on the ground. And I think Bangladesh should right now, whatever might have been the role of the United States or what is mentioned as the deep state as far as the changeover of the government in Bangladesh is concerned, whatever that might be, I don't want to comment on that. But the fact is that at this moment, Bangladesh dispensation will really have to start looking inwards and taking action, because otherwise there are going to be problems and difficulties, and of course relations with India being where they are. India has been trying to be as helpful as possible in every sense of the word, whether it is in terms of visas or medical tourism or exports of for the textile industry, for the garment industry, etc., in every sense of the word.
Right.
Even in terms of export of power from Nepal to Bangladesh, 40 megawatts that was committed quite some time ago. So I think India has been meeting its own, whatever its own commitments have been, but Bangladesh also has to look at the interests of India and be
sure
of that.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for being with us.